Hey creatives, Karen here, mixed media artist and creative at By the Wolf Moon. I'm doing some more shadow work this week. I am fully intending to continue with the Coming Home to Self series, but at the moment I feel like the world is in such a transformational phase, and we as individuals are also in such transformational phases that shadow work is where I really need to be spending my time at the moment. Um, it is a transformational phase is really a good time to reflect and uncover things that may have been kept hidden or that you may have been suppressing. So shadow work it is for now. You might notice that I haven't sped up this first part of the video. It is I've left it in real time for you, and the reason for that is because I wanted to make note of the importance of these foundation layers. So I'm actually working on a page that I had already done the foundation layers for when I created the artwork opposite, and now I'm adding the color to the page, and I just wanted you to notice the slowness, I guess, of the brush action, and point out that even though this may seem like the boring phase of the creativity process, it's actually really valuable, and every layer on the page is important, and every layer adds energy to the page, and every layer is putting something into your finished piece of art, even if you don't see it in the finished piece visually. So as you start your art journal page, it is important to take note of things like that. It's important to take note of the brush strokes and the feel of the brush in your hand, and when you can do that, that's when this whole creative process becomes like a meditation. I think I've said before that creating is like meditation for me. Even using the scissors to cut things out, I love the sound of the scissors cutting. I love the feel of the scissor cutting the paper or whatever I'm cutting. And when you can forget about everything else that is going on in your life and just concentrate on this act of creating in that way, then that's how it becomes like a meditation. The other thing that you can do while you're creating these foundation layers, which I've actually moved on from now in the video, but I just want to talk about it a little bit longer, is when you're creating these foundation layers, you can think about the energy that you're wanting to put into the piece of art that you're going to create. How is the thought of this artwork making you feel? What are you feeling in your body as you think about this moment in time that you're capturing, or this emotion that you're capturing, or this story that you're capturing on the paper? How does it make you feel? How is your body feeling? What are your emotions doing? That sort of thing. Think about that, and let it all out, and let it all flow through you, through the brush or pen or whatever medium you're working with, and onto the page. This is what art journaling for healing is all about. Seeing as I've already discussed the video speed, and I've now sped up the video, it's probably a good time to point out that even though I try and squish these art journal pages into a 20-minute video, sometimes they can take me much longer than that, obviously. So there can't be a set time frame for finishing your art journal page, and an art journal page might actually take you weeks to complete. You might only you know, you might only be able to do 5 minutes at a time, or you might be able to sit down and work on it for 3 hours at a time, if that's how long it takes. There's no rhyme or reason for it. You just really have to go with the flow, go with whatever is coming up for you, and let it all happen naturally. A lot of my time art journaling is spent simply sitting in front of the page staring at it. I actually spend quite a lot of time doing that, and that's not a bad thing. And sometimes I have to stop. Sometimes I don't know where to go next, or what needs to come out next and be put on the page, and so I have to stop and walk away when you get to that stage where you're blocked. It's important not to force anything. It's important not to think, I really want to finish this, and I really want to finish it now. If the information is not flowing through you, then you really need to stop and take a break and not force the end of it. Otherwise, you won't be happy with the end result. Now is also a really good time probably for me to say once again that art journaling in this manner for healing is really not about creating a masterpiece. It's not about how good you are at drawing or painting or sculpting, if that's your preferred method, or collaging, or whatever your preferred medium is. It's really not about the techniques and skills and the masterpiece of your finished artwork. It is solely about creating something from completely within you, creating something from your soul, from your authentic self. So I am under no illusions that the pieces I create are brilliant works of art. Even though I call them artwork, they are artwork because they are a piece of creativity that has come from me. So it is definitely artwork, just as your pages will be artwork, and you should refer to them as such. But I am under no illusion that I am a brilliant artist or anything like that, and that's not why I do work in my art journal. I just really love creating, and it has been such a healing and fulfilling activity for me personally, in coming to terms with the life I've had up till now, and coming to terms with healing from multiple sclerosis, and coming to terms with being the parent of a neurodiverse child, living an unconventional life, and not through choice necessarily, but necessity. So it is such a wonderfully transformational act to undertake. It is probably one of the best ways I have found to help myself, and I would say it has done more for me than any conventional medicine I've taken, than any practitioner I've been to see. This has been, the act of creating and working in my art journal has really been the most helpful in helping me transform my life, and helping me transform my health outcomes, and helping me feel fulfilled and in control, I think. That's not to say that I don't have very helpful medical practitioners. I really, really do. I believe healing is a holistic thing that we have to undertake. We have to look at it from a holistic point of view. We have to treat ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally in order to completely heal. And sometimes the mental and emotional side gets overlooked. But it is just as important, if not more important, than healing the physical body. So that's something that I truly, truly believe in, and something that my experience has proven to me. And the best thing about art journaling for healing is that it is easy and it is cheap and it's available to everybody. That is something that I really feel strongly about, that medical help or help in healing should be easily accessible to everybody. It shouldn't depend on your financial status or anything like that. You should be able to easily and cheaply be able to access help. And I guess maybe that's one of the reasons why I decided to do this series, because there were so many years that I desperately needed help. I didn't know where to get it. I couldn't afford treatments that, that may have been helpful. I couldn't afford to even try them out. And the treatments I could afford or that were available to me didn't seem to be helping. So I guess, yeah, one of the main reasons for me putting these videos out here on the internet is that even if just one person can get something out of them, then that's enough for me to feel useful and purposeful. So yep, that's the main reason I am doing these videos. This video has turned into more of a kind of an informational video than I had intended, explaining my thought processes behind art journaling and why it's so important to me and helpful to me. But as I always say, I go with the flow. I put out the information that comes in as I receive it, so this must be what needs to be heard right now in this moment. Having said that though, I now seem to have run out of things to say, so let's talk about the video for a bit. You'll notice probably that I use fabric quite a bit in my art journal. That's because fabric is my first love. I love sewing. Sewing is something I'm talented at. It makes me feel good. That's where I feel my most creative and my most talented, and some of my greatest masterpieces have come from fabric and thread. Not that I think they are masterpieces in the grand scheme of masters in the world, but for me personally, I feel the most talented when I have created something with fabric and thread. So I do incorporate that a lot in my art journal book, just because it's part of me and it makes me feel good. I love fabric, I love the feel of it, I love the look of it, I love the shapes you can create with it, the textures you can get, the colors you can get, all of those things. So I guess my point here is don't feel like you're limited to using paper and pen or paper and paint. There are so many other things that you can create with and add to your page. And I will do a flip through of this art journal one day soon, and you'll see that it's really, really bulky. It doesn't close like a book anymore. And that's because I add so many different things to the pages. So it is very bulky and open. That is not to say that you have to create your pages that way. Whatever works for you, even if you just have paper and pencil and you do your art journaling that way, it is more important that you actually do the practice than what tools you have available to you or what you create your art from. And now I just want to make mention of the contrast between these two pages. So the page on the left that I had completed previously is quite a dark looking page, almost traumatic, and this one that I am working on now is a bit lighter. It's a bit more colourful. It feels a bit more fun, although the energy behind it is still quite harrowing, I guess is a good word. But I wanted to say that shadow work doesn't have to be all darkness, and I mean that's the very essence of shadow, is that it's dark and probably scary and that sort of thing, but it doesn't have to be portrayed that way in your art journal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You can make it fairly light and bright with colours and things like that. And actually, if you think about it, a lot of our shadow in the physical world is hidden under bright colours and happy faces, and you know, a lot of our shadow is completely hidden or kept hidden by the light. So it's you know, it wouldn't be wrong to portray it with brighter colours and things like that. I actually really enjoy working with shadow. At first it was really hard and traumatic and harrowing for me, and now that I've really got into it, embraced it, I actually really enjoy it. It has always been my comfort zone, but it was comfortably uncomfortable. And now I am actually really comfortable there, and enjoy working with shadow from a creative perspective. From a day-to-day life perspective, I'm obviously much happier now living in the light, because I spent so many years living in the shadow as well as creating there, or trying to create there. So anyway, contrast is a theme that has been coming up for me quite a lot lately, especially over the last week or so. That's one of the energies that's been swirling around me, as well as this big energy of transformation that is happening worldwide at the moment. It's a bit scary, it's also exciting, and it feels like there is great opportunity to do huge good, but by the same token there's also great opportunity to not do so good. So again, there's that contrast. I described it the other day to someone as feeling like we are in this portal, and in the portal there is chaos swirling all around us, so many emotions and feelings and big things swirling, and we can choose either side of the portal to go through. So the feeling that I'm feeling right now is that we need to stop, stay where we are, take a breath, and take some time to really reflect and feel into the energies that are swirling around us, and get a feel for which direction we're going to go, and how we are really truly going to make a difference for the greater good in this world. We kind of have the choice to go backwards, go back out from whence we came, or we have the choice to move forward and move on and progress. But the one thing that we can't do is remain where we are in the portal, because the portal will close. So yeah, we have, and it's very much an individual decision creating a collective energy. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we just need to think carefully try not to be overreactive, um, remain calm, loving and kind, as I talked about in my last video. And I think with that I will leave you. This video is nearly finished now. I'm really happy with how this beautiful girl turned out. I'm not going to go into the details of the message behind the artwork. It's I will just say that the theme was around feeling unsupported and wanting to break up with the old self. That is kind of the themes that were buzzing around in my head while I was creating this piece of artwork. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me once again. If you are interested, I have a Facebook page which is By the Wolf Moon, and you'll find all sorts of different creations there of mine. You can contact me if you are local and arrange to have a private one-on-one art journaling session with me. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.